The trees were so thick that the sky disappeared. Jason slammed the brakes as his car's headlights caught something standing in the middle of the dirt road. It was tall. Too tall. Its shoulders were wide, and its head looked bent in a strange way. Its eyes shined back at them like a deer's eyes in the dark. But it wasn't a deer. Emily screamed from the passenger seat. Tyler dropped his phone. The GPS had already lost signal 10 minutes ago after they made that wrong turn. And now the engine wouldn't start again. The tall figure slowly stepped closer to the car. Another shape moved behind it between the trees. Jason whispered, "We made the wrong turn." The car doors suddenly locked on their own. And something knocked once, slowly, on Jason's window. The knock came from outside. But the figure was still 10 feet away. So who was right next to the car? That was the worst moment of Jason's life. And this is the first of the 3 wrong turn horror stories animated. Earlier that day, everything felt normal. Jason, Emily, and Tyler were driving through West Virginia on their way to a music festival in Virginia. They were laughing, playing music, and arguing about snacks. The sky was bright blue, and the road seemed easy. They missed the main highway exit because Tyler was telling a joke and Jason wasn't paying attention. "No big deal," Jason said. "GPS will fix it." The GPS told them to take a side road. Then another. Then another. Soon the wide highway turned into a small road with cracked pavement. Then that turned into gravel. Then dirt. Emily looked out the window. "Are we still going the right way?" Tyler checked his phone. "Yeah, I think." The trees grew thicker. No houses. No gas stations. No signs. Just forest. Jason laughed nervously. "It's probably just a shortcut." But the GPS voice started glitching. "Turn, left, left, left." "There's no left," Jason said. The signal bars dropped to 0. They had officially taken the wrong turn. Still, they decided to keep going forward instead of turning back. That was mistake number 1. About 20 minutes later, they saw something strange. An old wooden sign nailed to a tree. It read, "Private property. Turn back." Tyler shrugged. "Probably nothing." They kept driving. Mistake number 2. The dirt road became narrower. Branches scratched against the sides of the car. The sun started setting, and the forest became darker. Then they saw it. An old cabin far off between the trees. Smoke coming from the chimney. Emily felt uneasy. Should we ask for directions? Jason hesitated. Maybe. They pulled the car closer. But before they could stop, the car made a loud clunking sound. The engine died. Tyler tried his phone again. No service. Jason stepped out to check under the hood. The air smelled strange. Like something rotten. Emily stayed inside. She kept looking at the cabin. For a second, she thought she saw someone standing in the window, watching them. Then the shape disappeared. Jason popped the hood. "I don't know what's wrong." Tyler joined him. That's when they heard it. A loud crack from the woods behind them. Not like a small animal. Like something heavy stepping on branches. They all froze. The forest was quiet again. Too quiet. Emily locked the car doors. Jason whispered, "Probably just a deer." But it didn't sound like a deer. They decided to walk toward the cabin and ask for help. Mistake number 3. As they stepped closer, they noticed something strange. There were no tire tracks near the cabin. No footprints. Just deep scratch marks on the wooden door. Emily knocked. No answer. Tyler tried the handle. The door creaked open slowly. Inside, the cabin was dark and dusty. Old furniture. Cobwebs. No lights. No signs of anyone living there. But the chimney was smoking. Jason looked at the fireplace. There was a fresh fire burning. Someone had to be there. Suddenly, they heard something behind them. The cabin door slammed shut. The room went dark. Emily screamed. Jason ran to the door and pulled. It wouldn't open. They heard slow footsteps outside the cabin. Heavy. Dragging. Like boots scraping on dirt. Tyler whispered, "We shouldn't have come here." A shadow moved past the window. Tall. Long arms. Head tilted. Jason backed away slowly. There was only one small back window in the cabin. He ran to it and pushed. It opened. "Go," he whispered. Emily climbed out first. Then Tyler. Jason followed. They ran back toward the car. But when they reached the road, the car was gone. It wasn't there. The spot where they parked was empty. No tire marks. No broken glass. Nothing. Emily started crying. How is that possible? Tyler turned in a circle. We just left it. Jason felt his heart pounding. The road behind them looked different. Wider. Like it had moved. That's when they heard a low whistle from the trees. Then another whistle from the opposite side. They weren't alone. Two tall figures stepped out from between the trees. One stood in front of them. One behind. Their clothes looked torn and dirty. Their faces were pale. And their smiles were wrong. Too wide. Jason grabbed Emily's hand. Tyler whispered, "Run." They ran into the forest instead of the road. Branches hit their faces. Roots tripped their feet. The woods seemed endless. They could hear footsteps chasing them. Slow. Not running. Just walking. Like they knew they would catch them anyway. Emily tripped and fell. Jason stopped to help her up. Tyler kept running. "Tyler!" Jason shouted. But Tyler didn't answer. Instead, there was a loud scream from deeper in the woods. Then silence. Jason's stomach dropped. Emily shook her head. "We have to keep moving." They ran again. The forest felt like a maze. Every direction looked the same. The sky was now dark blue. The moon barely visible. Then Jason saw something up ahead. Lights. Red and blue lights flashing. A police car. Parked on the side of the dirt road. Jason felt relief wash over him. They ran toward it. A police officer stepped out. Tall. Hat low over his face. "You kids lost?" the officer asked calmly. Jason nodded fast. "Yes. Please help us. There are people in the woods." The officer stared at them for a long moment. Then slowly smiled. The same wide, wrong smile. Behind him, Jason saw the two tall figures stepping out from the trees again. But this time, there were more. 5, maybe 6, surrounding the road. The officer's eyes reflected the moonlight. He said softly, "You shouldn't have taken that wrong turn." The police car's lights suddenly shut off. The road disappeared into darkness. And something grabbed Jason from behind. Jason felt cold hands grab his shoulders and pull him backward into the darkness. He screamed and kicked, but whoever held him was strong. Emily shouted his name, but her voice sounded far away, like she was underwater. Then suddenly, everything went black. When Jason opened his eyes, he was lying on a wooden floor. His head hurt. The air smelled damp and old, like wet dirt and smoke. He slowly sat up. He was inside a small wooden room. The walls were made of rough logs. There was one tiny window with metal bars. Moonlight slipped through it. Across the room, Emily was tied to a chair. Her eyes were open, wide with fear. "Jason," she whispered. He rushed toward her, but his hands were tied behind his back. He hadn't noticed before. The door to the room creaked open. The tall police officer stepped inside. Only now he wasn't wearing the badge anymore. Just a dark coat. His smile was still wide and wrong. "You two don't listen very well," he said calmly. Jason tried to stay brave. "Where's Tyler?" The man tilted his head slowly. "Your friend ran very fast," he said. "But nobody runs fast enough out here." Emily began to cry quietly. The man walked closer. His boots scraped the floor. "You took a road that doesn't exist on maps," he continued. "That road belongs to us." Jason felt anger rise in his chest. "Let us go." The man laughed softly. "No one leaves after the wrong turn." He walked back toward the door. "And don't try to run. The woods always bring you back." The door slammed shut again. Jason and Emily sat in silence for a moment. Then Jason whispered, "We're getting out." He turned his wrists slowly, feeling the rope. It was tight but not perfect. Whoever tied him had rushed. Emily nodded. We have to. Outside the room, they could hear low voices. More than one person. Jason kept twisting his wrists. The rope scratched his skin, but he didn't stop. After what felt like forever, one hand slipped free. He quickly untied the other. Then he ran to Emily and untied her. They moved quietly toward the door. Jason pressed his ear against it. Silence. He slowly turned the handle. It opened. They stepped into a narrow hallway lit by a single hanging light bulb. The cabin was bigger than it looked from outside. Long hallway. Several closed doors. They moved slowly. Then they heard something from one of the rooms. A soft knocking. 3 slow knocks. Jason froze. Emily whispered, "Did you hear that?" The knocking came again. From behind a door on their left. Jason hesitated, then slowly opened it. Inside was a small room. And in the corner, Tyler. He was sitting on the floor, hands tied, face pale. "Tyler!" Emily whispered loudly. Tyler looked up weakly. "You came back." Jason quickly untied him. "We have to go now," Jason said. They ran down the hallway. At the end was another door. Jason opened it. Outside. They stepped into the night air. The woods surrounded the cabin on all sides. No road in sight. "Which way?" Tyler asked. Jason pointed toward where he thought the road had been. They ran. Branches hit their arms. Twigs snapped under their shoes. They didn't stop. After a few minutes, they saw something through the trees. Headlights. A truck. Parked near what looked like a dirt road. Jason felt hope again. They ran toward it. The truck was old and rusty. The keys were still in the ignition. Tyler looked confused. Why would they leave it here? Jason didn't care. He jumped into the driver's seat. The engine started. All 3 of them felt relief. Jason stepped on the gas. The truck moved forward. They drove fast down the dirt road. The forest seemed thinner now. Like they were finally leaving. Emily looked back. "I don't see anyone following us." Tyler sighed. "Maybe they gave up." Jason didn't answer. Something felt wrong. The road ahead looked familiar. Too familiar. After 5 minutes, Jason slowed down. Up ahead. There was the wooden sign nailed to the tree. "Private property. Turn back." Emily's face went pale. "That's the same sign." "That's impossible," Tyler said. Jason's hands tightened on the wheel. They had been driving straight. No turns. No stops. But somehow, they were back where they started. The truck's headlights flickered. Then shut off. The engine died. "No, no, no," Jason whispered. He tried the key again. Nothing. The woods around them grew quiet. Then they heard it. A whistle. From behind the truck. Then another whistle from the front. Emily slowly turned her head. Standing in the middle of the road ahead. The tall police officer. Behind him, 5 other figures stepped out of the trees. They weren't hiding anymore. They walked slowly toward the truck. Tyler whispered, "They're playing with us." Jason looked around quickly. "There's a hill to the right," he said. "If we run downhill, maybe we can reach the main road." They didn't wait. They jumped out of the truck and ran toward the hill. The ground was steep and slippery. They slid and stumbled. Behind them, the footsteps followed. Not fast. Just steady. Like before. The 3 of them reached the bottom of the hill. And there, finally, was pavement. A real road. With street signs. Jason felt tears in his eyes. They ran onto the road, waving their arms. In the distance, headlights approached. A real car. The driver slowed down. A woman rolled down her window. "Are you kids okay?" "Yes." Emily shouted. "Please help us." The woman looked concerned. "There's nothing out here for miles. Where did you come from?" Jason pointed toward the hill. But when they turned, the hill was gone. There was no forest. No cabin. No dirt road. Just open field. Tyler stared in shock. That's not possible. The woman frowned. You three must be lost. Jason stepped closer to the car. Please, can you take us to town? She nodded slowly. Get in. They climbed into the back seat. The car drove forward. Jason looked out the rear window. And for a second, far behind them, he saw the tall police officer standing alone in the middle of the empty field, smiling. Then he disappeared. The woman drove in silence for a while. What town are you heading to? She asked calmly. Anywhere with people, Tyler said. The woman chuckled softly. People, she repeated. Her voice sounded different now. Lower. Slower. Jason looked up at the rearview mirror. And his heart dropped. The woman's eyes in the mirror were glowing faintly in the dark. And her smile was just as wide. The car doors suddenly locked. Emily grabbed the handle. It wouldn't open. The road ahead no longer had street signs. Only trees. Thick, endless trees. Jason realized something terrible. They had escaped the woods. But the woods had followed them. And the car began turning slowly onto another dirt road they had never seen before. The car turned slowly onto the dirt road. The glowing eyes in the mirror never blinked. Jason's heart pounded so loud he thought the others could hear it. Emily tried the door handle again. Locked. Tyler pressed against his window, but the glass felt thick and cold. Stop the car. Emily shouted. The woman didn't answer. Her smile grew wider. The trees outside became taller and darker. The headlights only showed a few feet ahead. Everything else was black. Jason leaned forward. Why are you doing this? The woman's voice changed again. It sounded deeper now, like two people talking at once. You made another wrong turn, she said softly. Tyler shook his head. We didn't choose this road. The woman laughed quietly. Everyone chooses. The car suddenly sped up. The tires bounced over rocks and roots. Branches scraped against the sides like fingers trying to get in. Jason's mind raced. He looked at the dashboard. The speed was climbing. He saw the door lock button. Slowly, very slowly, he reached forward and pressed it. Nothing happened. The woman's eyes in the mirror shifted toward him. Don't, she whispered. The air inside the car felt heavy, like it was hard to breathe. Up ahead, Jason saw something through the trees. Lights. Bright white lights. Like a building. Look. Emily said. There's something ahead. The woman's smile faded for just a second. The car burst out of the trees and onto a paved road. In front of them stood a gas station. Real. Bright. Open. Two trucks were parked outside. The woman slammed the brakes hard. The car stopped suddenly. All three of them were thrown forward. When Jason looked up, the driver's seat was empty. The woman was gone. The doors unlocked with a loud click. Tyler didn't wait. He threw open the door and ran. Emily and Jason followed. They ran toward the gas station lights. Inside, a middle-aged man stood behind the counter. He looked surprised. You kids okay? He asked. Jason nodded quickly. Call the police. Please. The man picked up the phone. Emily looked back at the road. The car they had been in was gone. There was no dirt road behind it. Only the regular highway. The police arrived 15 minutes later. Jason tried to explain everything. The cabin. The fake officer. The woman with glowing eyes. The real officer frowned. There's no cabin out there, he said. And no missing people reports. Tyler spoke up. There was a wooden sign. Private property. The officer shook his head. That land's been empty for years. Jason felt anger rising again. We saw them, he said. The officer looked at them carefully. Sometimes when people get lost in the woods, their minds play tricks. Jason knew what he saw. It wasn't a trick. The police drove them back toward the highway where they had first turned. The officer pointed. This is the only road that goes through here. Jason stared. The dirt road they had taken before was gone. There was only thick forest. No opening. No path. Nothing. They were taken to a nearby town. Their parents were called. By morning, they were safe. At least that's what everyone believed. Weeks passed. School started again. Life felt normal. But Jason couldn't sleep. Every night, he dreamed of trees, of wrong turns, of glowing eyes in the mirror. One afternoon, Tyler came over with his laptop. "I found something," he said quietly. He pulled up an old news article. It was from 10 years ago. 3 hikers missing in the Appalachian Mountains. Last seen driving after taking a wrong turn. The picture showed their car. Jason's blood ran cold. It was the same truck they had escaped in. Rusty. Old. Keys left inside. Emily stared at the screen. They never found them. Tyler shook his head. "No." Jason scrolled further. Another article. 5 years ago. A family missing after getting lost on a back road near the mountains. Their last phone signal. Right where Jason and the others had turned. Emily whispered, "It's been happening for years." Jason nodded slowly. "They're not just random people." Tyler looked confused. "What do you mean?" Jason swallowed hard. "They wait for people to take the wrong turn." Silence filled the room. That night, Jason stood by his bedroom window. He stared at the street outside. Everything looked normal. Street lights. Cars. Neighbors walking dogs. Then he noticed something strange. At the far end of the block, a car was parked. Its headlights were off. But someone was sitting inside. Watching. Jason's stomach twisted. The driver's door slowly opened. A tall figure stepped out. Even from far away, Jason could see the shape. Too tall. Head slightly tilted. Arms hanging too low. The same shape from the woods. Jason stepped back from the window. He blinked. When he looked again, the street was empty. The car was gone. The next morning, Jason told Tyler and Emily. They didn't laugh. Because the same thing had happened to them. Tyler had seen headlights outside his house at midnight. Emily had heard soft knocking on her bedroom wall. 3 slow knocks. Just like in the cabin. They tried to ignore it. But it kept happening. One evening, Jason's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He stared at it. It stopped ringing. Then a message appeared. "You can't leave the road." Jason's hands shook. He showed Tyler and Emily. They didn't speak for a long time. Finally, Tyler said, "Maybe we didn't escape." Emily's voice was barely a whisper. "Maybe it followed us." Jason tried to be strong. "We're not going back," he said firmly. But deep down, he wasn't sure they had a choice. A week later, Jason's dad planned a weekend trip. "Just a short drive," he said. "Through the mountains." Jason felt cold. "No," he said quickly. His dad laughed. "Relax. It's safe." The next morning, they packed the car. As they pulled out of the driveway, Jason checked the rearview mirror. For a moment. Just for 1 second. He saw glowing eyes looking back at him from the back seat. He spun around. Nothing was there. He faced forward again. The road stretched ahead. Clear. Normal. His dad turned on the GPS. He muttered. "It says there's a faster route." Jason's heart began to pound. "Dad," he said slowly, "don't take any roads that aren't on the map." His dad smiled. "It's fine." The GPS voice spoke calmly. "In 500 feet, turn right." Jason stared ahead. There was a small dirt road coming up. Barely visible. His dad slowed down. The sign near it was old and cracked. Jason couldn't breathe. The sign read, "Shortcut." And beneath it, almost faded away, "Private property." Jason screamed, "Don't turn." But his dad had already started turning the wheel. The tires rolled onto the dirt. The trees closed in around them. The sunlight disappeared. And the GPS screen flickered. Then went black. From the back seat, a soft whistle echoed. Followed by 3 slow knocks.